Welcome all. In the previous session, we have looked into the different demand determining factors, and we have completed 4 major demand determining factors, that is price of the product, how it's influencing the demand of a product, then income of the consumers, tastes and preferences of the consumers, and the price of the related products, that is substitute product and complementary product, how each one of these factors influences the demand for a particular product. We have completed in the previous session. Today, let us go ahead with the remaining factors which influence the demand for a particular product, and let us start with the next 5th different factor influencing demand of the product. Next factor, which is a determining factor for demand, expected price of the future. Okay, so let's take a very good example here. Best example is price of gold. Let's say it's maybe very evidently clear that, or it is speculated that in the near future, next month, the price of gold is going to decrease. So what will happen? The person has maybe a requirement for purchasing gold now also. What he'll do immediately? He'll be thinking in future the price is going to decrease. So he'll be ready to wait for that 1 month. So what will happen today? Almost the amount of sale or the demand for gold is going to become very minimal or almost zero, because people will be waiting for that future when the prices will decrease. Similarly, if he is expecting that in the future the price of the gold is going to increase, in the next month it's going to increase per gram by 1000 or 2000, obviously what they'll do, they'll try to pull up all the money they have, and they understand that in future it's going to increase. So urgently, whatever is the very near future requirement of gold, or maybe for their saving purpose, they'll try to pull all the money and purchase gold and keep it with them, because they feel today the price is much lesser when compared to the future. So a heavy demand for gold is created today. Let us take a very other beautiful example, a very straight example. Petroleum price, right? If it is announced that from tonight, midnight, generally the price changes midnight for petroleum. So from midnight, the price of petroleum is going to increase by 5 rupees per liter. So from midnight onwards, 5 rupees increase. You just imagine what is the condition of the petrol bunks today. Till that midnight time, or until there is a no stock board in front of the petrol bunks, all the petrol bunks will be flocked with vehicles for filling petrol. So excessive demand, because they are speculating an increase in the price in the future. Similarly, you find, or you have information that by midnight, from midnight, the price of petroleum is going to decrease by 5 rupees. What you will do? You need, or you want to go and get your petrol filled also, you will wait for today until tomorrow. You have some emergency work also, you will stop, you will keep that waiting until tomorrow, because you don't want to waste your money. So you will wait for that tomorrow, and then you are going to purchase the petroleum. Meanwhile, you will try to compromise on your works. So what happened here? In future, you are expecting a price decrease. Today, the demand totally decreased. You are not ready to purchase anything now. So this is how expected price of the future is going to impact the demand of the product. This is the quantity demanded as usual, and this is the expected price of the future. So here you find what is the kind of curve? As the expected price of the future is going on increasing, the demand for that particular product is also going on. So in future, the price is going to increase from this P1 to P2. How much increase you are expecting in the future, that much demand you have today. So this you are talking about present demand, current demand. And this you are talking about the future price. You are expecting increase in the price in the future. Let us say this is the initial demand. You are expecting increase in the price in the future. We can find an increase in the demand today. As the expected price of the future is showing a higher tendency, more is the amount of demand for that particular product. Similarly, as the expected price of the future is going on decreasing, you find the amount that is demanded decreasing when compared to previous. So this shows again a direct proportionality or a positive slope. Now coming to the next factor, expected income of the future. So we are talking about the consumer's point of view. Here, if the consumer is expecting his income in the future to increase, obviously he will start spending more today itself, because he is having full assurance that tomorrow I will be very happy with a lot of money. So no need to save my money today. He will be ready to spend everything that he has, because he has confidence. He has assurance that he will have more money in future. So his expenditure today itself, even before he got that money, he starts spending more. Let us consider the reverse way. If the consumer is expecting his income in the future to decrease, then today itself he will start all kinds of expenditures. So he feels next month he's going to get, from next month onwards, he's going to get only half the salary. So what he'll do, he'll stop all kind of unnecessary expenditures, and anything he's buying maybe 3, he'll buy only 1 or 2, and something he's buying very little, he feels I can skip that, he will totally skip purchasing that particular product, because he's having that fear that I'm not going to have sufficient money in the future, I have to save all my money. He'll not be ready to spend his money which he's having presently with him also. He wants to save that for the future, for all his maybe basic requirements which he may be very tough to handle in future. He will try to hold the existing money of today also for that future needs. So what do we find here? If you represent it graphically, so as usual, the quantity demanded on the x-axis, and on the y-axis we are going to have the expected income of the future. So as the expected income he is finding is going to increase, the demand for the products would increase. He'll be ready to spend lavishly as if he's expecting an increase. So you find the slope like this. So as the expected income is increasing, demand is increasing. See, it's going on increasing. If there is a decrease in the income, from here to here, there is a decrease in the demand, because he wants to save that money for his future. So this is how this particular graphical presentation shows a positive curve and a direct proportionality. So this is how expected income of the future is a determining factor for the demand of a particular product at that particular moment. So current demand of the product is going to be influenced by the expected future income of the consumer. So I hope you are able to understand all these. Now coming to the next one, size of the population. So what is the meaning size of the population? Means the total number of people living in that particular area where you want to sell your product. So what is the quantity demanded, and what is the relationship with the size of the population to this quantity demanded? The number of people in that area are going on increasing, your product will sell more. More and more people are starting to come there and start living. That particular zone is getting more and more populated. Earlier, very less people were there and this much product is demanded. Now, more people are coming into that area. They need more product. Obviously, more product will be sold. More people, even more product. So, what's happening here? You find a direct proportional graph. So this is your demand curve which shows a direct proportionality, a positive curve. More the number of people adding in that area, more is the requirement of your product. So more sales or more demand for that particular product. So this shows a direct proportionality. So increase in the population increases quantity demanded of a product. So now let us come to this. So here you have to understand the difference. So just now we have discussed about size of the population. This is related to all the people existing in that particular area. More people start living in that area, more people need your product, so more demand. Then what is this? Distribution of customers. Okay, size of the population is there. Good number of people are there in that area. But then what if the right kind of people who need your product are not in that area? So in your locality, you're trying to, let us say, you're trying to sell toys. But in that area, all middle-aged group people are there who are all high professionals with all grown-up children. There are no kids in that area. So is there any meaning? More and more population keeps on adding. You're having so much population. Everyday population is increasing. But people who want to buy toys are not there in that area. So your market segment is not there. The kind of people who are your rightful customer, your exact customers, your customer segment is not available in that zone. So how much ever the size of the population increases also, it makes no difference for your demand change. Similarly, let us say you're trying to operate in a place where maybe all small children are there. There you're trying to sell or all health care related products or all maybe dietary nutrition related products. Would anyone be interested in purchasing all that? Such products, if you find a place where a lot of senior citizens are there, if we try to sell our product in a place, all these healthcare products or dietary based nutrition products in a zone where elderly people are there, senior citizens are there, we can make good business. There will be a lot of demand for our product. But if we wrongly try to sell the same product where all small children are more in number in that area, we are not going to create any demand for our product. We are not going to have any demand for our product. So what is the distribution of the customers who are related to our product in that area really matters. So more the number of people who are your customer segment increasing in that area, more is the demand for your product in that area. So this is how distribution of the customers is going to impact the quantity demanded of that particular product. So this again shows a direct proportionality. As the distribution of customers related to your product it goes on increasing, the amount or the quantity demanded of your product also goes on increasing. So it shows a direct proportionality. So what you find here? So this is the composition of population. It's not about the total population. You're not talking about size of the population. The size of the population may increase, but sometimes the demand for our product may not increase because the right set of people for our product are not increasing in that area. So this distribution of customers talks about that market segment related to our product increasing in that zone, increasing in that area. So how this distribution of consumers or customers for our product is going to impact the demand for our particular product. It's a direct proportionality. Now coming to advertisement efforts. See, we started our session with this one more opening note, that is how advertisement efforts increase the sale of a particular product. You find even the topmost companies' advertisements in different media, be it on the television or outside on the hoardings on the roadsides or in very large centers and circles, or maybe through the social media, different kinds of marketing using all kinds of digital marketing platforms. You find a lot of advertisement, not just by maybe some startups or maybe some kind of people who are now entering into the market, but also the top-notch products. Why? Because this does impact the amount of sale or the demand for a particular product. If though you feel that your product is already stabilized in the market, you have a lot of demand for your product and all the people like your product, they know your quality, but if you are ignorant of advertisement, any advertisement efforts, you are not ready to put in any efforts for advertisement, then slowly people tend to forget, because maybe you are feeling you're great with your product, but of course you do have competitors always. The competitors are not leaving the market, they are not leaving the people, then you are lost in that race. So advertisements are a real matter for creating a demand and holding or sustaining your demand in the market. So more the advertisement efforts, more people are aware and more people are constantly triggered with the kind of promotion you go into the market, the kind of added features you try to give them awareness on. So you keep holding your existing customers and also creating new customers for your product. So more the advertisement efforts, more the amount of sale or demand for your product. So advertisement efforts, as you invest more and more money and time and efforts in it, you have more and more amount of demand for your product. So what do we find here? A direct proportionality. You tend to ignore your advertisement, after some time you're lost because your competitors are not quite. So it does play a very vital role in deciding the demand of a particular product, and it is actually directly proportional with a positive slope in your graphical presentation. So these are majority or almost all the very main factors which determine the demand for a particular product. And we have one final put under other factors where this encompasses almost all the leftovers. I'll give you a few examples where demand can actually be impacted due to several other reasons. Now, you might have observed very recently, just few years back, we were affected by the COVID pandemic. And all of us know like how it really created a lot of chaos in all our lives, and how demand for different products has increased tremendously, how it decreased tremendously, irrespective of the price of the product, the income of the consumer, the taste and preference of the consumer, the size of the population or distribution of the population. Irrespective of all these, there were certain products which were in high demand, certain products where no one really cared at that time. No, just let us talk about the time of COVID. Was anyone really worried about purchasing gold or holding gold or all such things? People just felt, if I'm able to survive this pandemic and live after that, I'll think about all that luxury later. So they least bothered about that. If the price of gold increase, decrease, it is irrelated or it's immaterial to every person existing at that time. But at the same time, talk about the very highly essential medicines. People were ready to sell their properties, their hard-earned properties over the lifetime, to just live, to get that medicine, to get an accommodation in the hospital. So this was the plight. So such conditions, no, it's not like pre-decided. Now, certain specific conditions decide the kind of demand for a particular product, increase or decrease at that particular moment. After that, it doesn't exist like that. But at that moment, it does influence a lot. Similarly, wartime. There's a sudden increase of demand for certain products, sudden decrease. No one really cares for some products when it's such kind of a wartime, emergency times, some political crisis times, and especially when it is a depression time, or when it's a high recession time, when it's a high boom condition, the kind of demand for products keeps changing. So it is not similar for all goods at that same time. It's not related to any of the earlier factors that we have studied. So all those factors are like beyond consideration in such specific situations, and all such conditions can be considered as other factors. So these special conditions affect the kind of demand for a particular product. If they are necessities, there's high demand. If they are not a necessity, people least bother about them at that time, though they have too much money or they have no money. Okay, so we have looked into all the very major factors which influence demand, and now these all factors can actually be summed up together in the form of what is called a demand function, which is a mathematical expression of how different factors influence the demand for a particular product. So let us see what is this mathematical expression. So which we call it as the demand function. So it is described as the relationship between the quantities of the commodity which is demanded at that particular specific period of time, and the factors which influence the demand. So the quantity demanded and the factors influencing. So the quantity demanded is based on the factors which are influencing it. How do we express that? As a mathematical expression. This dx, demand for a particular product X. dx stands for demand for the product X, or the good X, or the service X, is equal to, or can be represented as, the function of all the factors that we have just now looked into. So let us recall all these factors. First one, P, price of the product. I, income of the consumer. T, tastes and preferences of the consumer. PR, price of the related goods. These related goods can be of two categories: substitute good and complementary good. It could be a substitute good or a complementary good. Then expected price of the future. So what is the price of that good which we are expecting to be in the future? Then expected income of the future. Then size of the population, the total number of people in that area. As they increase, the demand increases. Then distribution of consumers for our product in that region, DC. Then advertisement efforts, how it increases, directly proportional, how it increases the demand for our product. And several other factors which influence different products demand differently during the same period of time because of various reasons. We have looked into all that. So the demand for a particular product or a good X is a function of the various demand determinants like price of the product, income of the consumer, tastes and preferences of the consumer, the price of the related products, either the substitute category or the complementary category, expected price of the future, expected income of the future, the size of the population, the distribution of the consumers in that area, the advertisement efforts could be costs or the time spent over advertisement, and various other factors which influence different product demand differently at that same particular period of time. Okay. So this is all what we have understood today. So what we have learned in today's session. First of all, the different determinants of demand in 10 different categories we have seen. How each determinant is influencing the demand with specific examples for each category we have looked into, and whether it's influencing it positively or negatively, that is it a direct proportionality or an indirect or an inverse proportionality, and what are the cases where this proportionalities are shown, and we have seen how to represent each one graphically. As I told you, this is a very important topic even in the examination point of view for any course that you are pursuing. And if it is asked as an essay answer, this is all that you can actually include in your answer to make it more better. And finally, how all these factors can be mathematically represented as a demand function. Hope you have understood today all the different determinants of demand and how they influence the demand of a particular good or a service in business. And this particular topic is of great significance for any company, especially to build and develop its marketing strategies to make the product sell better, to understand or to analyze the amount of demand which is present in the market, so that accordingly strategies can be applied and more number of consumers can be attracted, the existing consumers can be retained by using their different strategies. For that reason, this analysis is very vital for any business, or especially for the marketing personnels of any particular business. So thank you all.
Like, share, comment, and subscribe VNR Digital Learning Resource YouTube channel.